A cable creates an electrical circuit between the source and destination devices. The source device puts signals on this circuit. The destination device reads signals from this circuit. If the destination device wants to reply, it must wait until the circuit becomes free. Once the source stops sending signals, the destination device can respond. The same rule applies to the source. If it wants to reply, it must wait until the destination device's transmission ends. This type of communication is called half-duplex. In it, a device can only send or receive data at a given time. It cannot perform both actions. However, if the cable provides two circuits and devices can perform both actions simultaneously, they can use one circuit to transmit and another to receive the data. This type of communication is called full-duplex. In full-duplex, a device can send and receive data simultaneously. In earlier days of computer networking, coaxial cables were used to connect end devices. A coaxial cable creates only one electric circuit. Since it establishes only one electric circuit, it works in half-duplex mode. Later, the coaxial cables were replaced with Ethernet cables. An Ethernet cable creates two circuits, one for sending and another for receiving the data. Since it makes two circuits, it works in full-duplex mode. Apart from cables, intermediate network devices also affect the transmission. If an intermediate network device does not know how to keep one device's data separate from another device's, end devices will operate in half-duplex mode regardless of the cable type. There are four types of network devices: Layer 1 devices, Layer 2 devices, Layer 3 devices, and Layer 4 devices. Layer 1 devices understand only signals. A hub is a Layer 1 device. It amplifies incoming signals and forwards them from all other ports. A switch is a Layer 2 device. It converts signals into frames, reads source and destination MAC addresses from each frame's header, and makes forwarding decisions based on them. A router is a Layer 3 device. It converts signals into frames and frames into packets to make forwarding decisions. It uses source and destination IP addresses to make forwarding decisions. A multi-layer switch is a Layer 4 device. It converts signals into frames, frames into packets, and packets into segments to make forwarding decisions. It provides many additional features. However, it is one of the most expensive network devices. A network can have one, two, or all four types of network devices based on its requirements. An intermediate network device can filter data only when it works in Layer 2 or higher. If it works only in Layer 1, it cannot filter the data. For example, hubs and repeaters are Layer 1 devices. They understand only signals. Signals have no identification marks. The intermediate network device cannot make accurate forwarding decisions based on the signals. To deal with this situation, it implements the CSMA/CD mechanism. The CSMA/CD mechanism allows Layer 1 network devices to forward signals of multiple devices in a queue under certain conditions. Let us understand this mechanism in detail. Since Layer 1 devices in half-duplex mode create only one electric circuit for transmission, this mechanism allows only one device to send signals. If another device wants to send the signals, it must wait until the circuit becomes free. For example, this network has 3 PCs. Let us suppose PC1 sends signals to PC3. In this case, PC2 cannot send signals to any other PC. PC3 can only receive signals. If it wants to reply, it must wait till the transmission from PC1 ends. Devices check the connected cables to know whether the media is free for transmission. If they see signals in it, they do not start the transmission. In CSMA/CD, this process is called carrier sense. For example, if PC2 wants to send the signals, it must check the cable before it starts. It can send signals only when the cable is free. Since cable is not free right now, it cannot send the signals. It can send signals only when it becomes free. This mechanism ensures that only one device sends signals at a time. As long as it is true, all devices can send signals. However, networks do not always work as expected. Sometimes they may work unexpectedly. This mechanism defines this situation as multiple access. It occurs when the media is free, and two or more devices want to send signals simultaneously. Let us suppose PC1 and PC3 want to send signals to PC2 simultaneously. They both sense the media at the same time. Since the media is free for transmission, they both put their signals on their connected cables. When it happens, signals collide at the hub. This mechanism defines this situation as collision detection. If a device sees a collision for its transmitted signals, it retransmits them with the jam signal. This jam signal informs all recipients about the collision. After sending the jam signal, it waits for a small random period measured in microseconds and senses the wire again. If collision still exists, it repeats the same steps. If it sees no collision, it retransmits the original signals. Since devices wait for a random period, the device whose waiting period is over starts the retransmission first, and the remaining device waits till it ends. This way, CSMA/CD allows layer 1 devices running on half-duplex to send and receive data. Now that we have learned how CSMA/CD works, let's understand the collision domain. A collision domain is a group of devices affected by the same collision. For example, when a collision occurs in this network, all 3 devices are affected. Since they are all affected by it, they belong to the same collision domain. However, this situation changes if we replace this hub with an Ethernet switch. An Ethernet switch creates a separate circuit between the source and destination. When it receives incoming signals, it converts them into frames and forwards them only from the port connected to the destination. It uses the frame's source and destination addresses to make forwarding decisions. If PC2 wants to reply, it can start responding immediately. It does not need to wait until PC1's transmission is over. An Ethernet switch creates a logical circuit between the source and destination devices. It forwards frames only from the port connected to the destination device. It works in full duplex mode. It creates a separate collision domain for each switch port. For example, an 8-port switch creates 8 collision domains. However, connecting a port to another switch or a higher-level device, such as a router or multi-layer switch, does not create a separate collision domain. Connecting 2 switches creates only a signal collision domain between them. Let's take a few examples. Here we have a hub connecting 4 PCS. A hub operates in half-duplex mode and creates a single collision domain on all of its ports. Now, let us add a switch to this network. Can you guess how many collision domains it has now? Right now, it is only 1 collision domain. We used 1 port of this switch. It creates 1 collision domain. We have a LAN segment running in a single collision domain. As we know, connecting 2 collision domains does not increase the total number of collision domains. Here, we extended the existing collision domain. We did not create another collision domain. Let us add 2 PCs to this switch. Now, how many collision domains does it have? Adding N devices to switch ports increases the number of collision domains. Now this network has 3 collision domains. Now add a router to this network. A router port creates a single collision domain. A switch port also creates a single collision domain. Since connecting collision domains does not increase the total number of collision domains, we will count each only once. Now, this network has 4 collision domains. 1, 2, 3, and 4. Now, let us add a few more devices. Can you answer how many collision domains it has now? Now it has 7 collision domains. It is a connecting link between 2 collision domains, so we will count it as 1. An N device is connected to this switch port, so we will count it as a separate collision domain. It is a LAN segment. Connecting a LAN segment to a switch port creates 1 collision domain. There is one more thing to remember. A WAN connection does not create a collision domain. A WAN connection connects 2 routers. If we connect another router to this network using a WAN connection, the collision domains will not increase. However, the collision domains will increase if another router has LAN segments. For example, if we attach a switch connected to 2 PCs to this router, the collision domains will increase to 10. Now that we know how the collision domain works, let us understand the broadcast domain. A broadcast domain is similar to a collision domain, but it works on layer 3. It is a group of devices that share the broadcast messages. A broadcast is a layer 3 message. It reaches all devices within the broadcast domain. Since it is a layer 3 message, only a layer 3 device can understand it. Routers are layer 3 devices. They define a boundary for broadcast messages. Like a switch port, each router interface creates a separate broadcast domain. For example, this network has 2 broadcast domains. By default, only routers create broadcast domains. However, we can use switches to create broadcast domains. Switches have a unique feature called VLANs that allows us to create broadcast domains. A VLAN creates boundaries for broadcast messages. A broadcast message generated in a VLAN reaches all devices within that VLAN. It does not go outside the VLAN. If 2 devices belong to different VLAN, they do not exchange broadcast messages. That's all for this video. In this video, we discussed and learned about duplex modes, CSMA/CD, collision, and broadcast domains. If you have comments, suggestions, or feedback about this video, please share them in the comment section.